could Gojo beat Goku? Yeah. Well, that's the short answer. There's a lot more that goes into this. In his own series, Gojo is hailed as the strongest sorcerer in his time. But will that mastery of sorcery be enough to beat the mortal who surpassed the gods? Of course, in terms of raw strength, Goku is way more powerful. But Gojo's abilities are more than just raw strength, and a lot of people misinterpret what he's capable of, as well as what Goku's capable of too. So even with this massive difference in raw strength, there might actually be a chance for Gojo to win here. We're going to cover Gojo's abilities and how strong he is, as well as what he can do against Goku. Quick disclaimer for this video too, I recorded this in November of 2023, right before my YouTube channel got hit by the copyright strike domain. So apologies if any of this is outdated, but thanks to the people on screen who helped me write this video and gather some info, as well as my editor Josh. Simply put, I think pitting Goku against random characters with powerful hacks usually doesn't lead to intriguing outcomes. I said the same thing in my Goku vs. Giorno video on my other channel, which also led me to make this exact video for fun. I know this topic has been pretty much covered to death, and I also know that this battle is hilariously lopsided. So this video isn't a standard versus battle video. Rather, it's a video specifically made to bat for Gojo, and theorize, or maybe even cope, how he could possibly win this, if at all. It is a long shot, but that's the point of this video, and I did want to do it for fun. I also added some stuff at the end too for my actual thoughts on the battle, but the first section of the video is meant to just show how much you have to lowball Goku and stretch Gojo's powers for anything here to work. I uploaded this before, and I don't think I was clear enough in the last video, but this battle is ridiculously in Goku's favor, so I want to make that really clear here. I'd recommend watching until the end before commenting because I'm probably going to address what you're thinking anyways. For the sake of this video, to outline how dramatically outmatched this is, we're using Goku's lowball and Gojo's highball, and we're also going to assume Goku has trace amounts of cursed energy like most people in JJK, since it's born from negative emotions and regular people have it too. It's not a crazy assumption, and the battle just becomes even more lopsided for using the technicality that Goku's not from JJK's verse. And one more thing, JJK spoilers ahead, obviously. So let's start this with the obvious. Goku of course does outspeed Gojo, and it's not even close there. Also, he overpowers Gojo significantly. And in terms of durability, that's also going to be a big issue for Gojo. Now, of course, if we start the scenario and Gojo has Limitless off for some reason, Goku can blitz him and easily kill him there. But if he has Limitless on like he usually does, that's going to change things a lot. So some people think that Goku could just go right through it, and they bring up two ways that he could do so. For one, some might say that he could instant transmission through it and bypass infinity, but it doesn't work that way. Instant transmission first needs a key target. Now, of course, Gojo's so strong naturally that he might have his own signature of key, even if it's very small compared to what Goku has. He just needs a source of key to teleport to, and that should be enough. Okay, so let's say he has that. If for some reason Goku's speed isn't enough to break through infinity, which it likely is, one way he could break through it is just simply teleporting into Gojo to completely bypass infinity as is. He might be capable of it, but it's also kinda not like Goku to do this type of execution because this would be like something out of The Boys, not something that Goku would do. And that's assuming he can do it. But let's assume he can teleport to Gojo. He'd have to have an instant attack, something that moves so fast that it could bypass infinity. He's never been shown to attack instantly, just move instantly, so that's the big issue here for him. Sure, he did have the instant transmission Kamehameha, but that attack wasn't instant. He did have to charge it beforehand, and when he teleported in front of Cell to launch it, the attack didn't just instantly execute. There was even a brief moment where Cell was able to react to it, even though he wasn't able to move away in time. And you'd probably think, okay, Gojo won't have time to react to Goku's attack, he still outspeeds him. But the point is, he's in infinity. He won't be able to move any further. He's going to be slowed down so much that he can't do anything. There's a misconception that Gojo's Limitless is basically some sort of barrier, but no it isn't. It's basically just slowing down whatever's coming towards him, and the closer things get towards him, the more they get slowed down, to the point where they're virtually stopped. Instant transmission won't change any of this. It might get him closer, but Goku's actual speed is what matters here. So regardless of instant transmission, if he doesn't have the speed to break through Limitless, instant transmission won't really do anything for him. But this all doesn't matter though. If he blitzes Gojo at full power, surely he could attack more than quick enough to bypass Gojo's infinity. And this is where it gets a little bit muddy. Now, Goku's speed can be wanked to be infinity, but there's also anti-feats against it. I can make a whole video alone on Goku's speed, but let's cover it briefly right now at least. So, in terms of attack speed and how quickly ki spreads out, Goku might have infinite attack speed, at least when it comes to using ki attacks. In the Tournament of Power alone, just from transforming an Omen, his power was able to shake the infinite void. And even all the way back in Battle of Gods, the power of his attacks threatened to destroy a 5-dimensional infinite universe. So Goku himself might not be infinite speed, but his attacks definitely can be. Now, like I said, there's an argument that he can be infinite speed, but that's a little bit more muddy. Especially because if that were the case, things like the Tournament of Power wouldn't have been timed. A fight between Goku and Jiren at infinite speed, it would have been over in an instant. Yet there clearly was a passage of time in the tournament. Also, another thing to support this is when Gas flew across the universe. We don't know how far he was flying, but we imply that it was a finite speed, and it did take him a finite amount of time to actually do this. and Gas was of course stronger than Goku at this point. So this means that both in the anime and the manga, well, at best we could say his ki attacks are infinite speed. And with infinite speed, they won't be slowed down by Limitless. Of course, this is all assuming that Gojo's Limitless can filter this out anyways. We haven't seen Gojo try to counter something like Goku, for example. So even if he doesn't have the speed to break through Limitless, maybe Gojo's Limitless actually does have some sort of limit, at least in terms of what type of power it could block. Gojo has stated that he could filter things out based on their mass, speed, and shape, and based on the danger of the object. So we can't really say for certain if Limitless can actually block a force like that. Now, someone might say that in Dragon Ball, hacks don't matter. You could simply surpass them by being more powerful, and that's also kind of a misconception. It's also a little out the scope of this video, and I plan on making a separate one for this too, but let's cover that briefly too. Most cases of hacks being overpowered in Dragon Ball are just ki overpowering ki. A lot of people point to Hit's time abilities, for example, but those are explicitly stated to be ki-based. So yes, he's warping time, but if it's a ki-based ability, theoretically someone with stronger ki could just break right through it. Or some people will talk about Hakkai's too, like Frieza and Goku overpowering it. This is also something you can't really compare to other series because, yeah, while this might not be a case of ki overpowering ki, since it is sort of a different type of ki, it still is another type of ki, and it's being overpowered within its own verse. Same goes with Vegito being able to move around as Candy. This is one power system overpowering another power system within the same verse. And especially with how limited the examples are and with this never being outright stated that this is the case, you can't really argue that hacks in other verses could be overpowered like this too. Sorry to overanalyze the meme, but yeah, there are some holes in the argument. But again, none of that's gonna matter if Goku's speed reaches infinite. So this looks like Gojo's cooked then, right? Since it seems like shockwaves and ki from attack could actually move at infinite speeds in Dragon Ball, at least when viewing it like this, that means Goku should just launch a Kamehameha at full power that could penetrate through Limitless, right? Well, in this exact circumstance, yeah, he should be able to win here. Especially because clearly, as we've seen in the manga so far too, there are multiple ways to penetrate through Limitless, albeit either through a special cursed tool, or the insane hacks that Sukuna has right now. And the fact that with Maharaga's help he's able to adapt to this. So there's ways to break through Limitless, and Goku probably has a few of his own. But let's assume Goku can't get through Limitless, for one of the few reasons that we discussed here. Goku can't hit Gojo, but how will he hurt Goku? Red and blue would probably be worthless here. Now, these attacks are powerful in verse, but against someone like Goku, that probably wouldn't even do anything to him. Remember, Goku takes universe-busting attacks on the regular. So despite the supernatural properties of how red and blue work, and how they're not just simply regular attacks, the raw power of it's not really going to do too much. Purple, on the other hand, though, might be able to actually do something, but it's unlikely. If we stretch it, Hollow Purple could actually be scaled really high. It's essentially a void of imaginary mass that'll destroy anything in its path, and there's a chance that Goku might not even be able to perceive it since it's an imaginary curse attack that has no ki to perceive either. It erases everything in its path, and Goku might be able to survive it, due to his sheer strength and the fact that he has overcome Hakkai's in the past too. Granted, a hand-me-down Hakkai, but still, a Hakkai. Although, back to what I said about overpowering things that aren't based on ki techniques. This isn't a ki technique, so it could be different here, especially because this is imaginary. It's a void that doesn't even really exist in a way. At least with a Hakkai, Goku can see it, and there's energy going into it, and it's something that's somewhat ki-based, even if it's different, but still, it's similar to what he's used to. Hence why Goku was able to resist that. More likely than not, Purple's not going to be powerful enough to hurt Goku, because we'd have to interpret it as existence erasure. And even then, Goku has resisted that before. But let's wake it here and look at its best feat, and assume that's how it works. We'll touch upon Purple's power later on too. Purple was able to affect a 4-dimensional space, not destroying it but completely wiping part of it from existence with no resistance at all. The inventory curse that Toji was carrying, that's a 4-dimensional space. Scaling the power of this attack is strange, especially with how little we've seen it, but with it manipulating matter on an atomic level, it could be argued that this also bypasses durability. Like I said before, this is basically wanking it. But if we wank Purple, there is a chance that it could hurt Goku, and completely erase him for that fact. But only if it actually hits him, of course. And that's assuming all this wanking is accurate too, and it bypasses Goku's durability. There is also the fact that Goku still does outspeed it, although that could also be worked around too. Let's give another scenario. Let's say Goku can bypass Limitless, and Purple could hurt him, but he's gonna outspeed it so much that it doesn't even matter. Especially with him having Ultra Instinct, he just dodges this stuff on reflex. Wouldn't it be convenient if Gojo had a way to guarantee a hit on him? And that brings us to Gojo's trump card, his domain expansion, Unlimited Void. This could actually guarantee a win for Gojo, for a few reasons. When you're caught in this domain, unless Gojo's touching you, your brain's automatically going to be overloaded with info. Infinite info too. In the Shibuya incident, it's stated that after 0.2 seconds, it gives you an estimated 6 months of info, and you could rejoin society about 2 months later. But it completely incapacitates you in that moment. Granted, this is for normal non-sorcerer humans, and Goku definitely isn't a normal human. Also, Dragon Ball characters do have feats of resisting some sort of mind abilities like this. Babidi's the biggest example of this, with Vegeta resisting his mind control, but this is really different. This is an overload of information with a guaranteed hit. Now, Goku could try to counter this by killing Gojo, or trying to break out of the barrier, but he'd have to act basically instantly with this. If the fight starts with Gojo just activating his domain, it might be over right then and there. Domains are meant to keep people in, and they aren't unbreakable, just very durable, and Goku could definitely break through something like that with his raw strength, but would he even know about that? Would he even know what he's inside of? Especially with what the scope of the domain looks like, Goku might not realize right away that he could just break out of this. And yes, he's a battle genius, he probably would realize this eventually, but he'd need to realize this instantly. Goku does have the reaction speed and the physical speed for this, but that's if he knew right away what he was getting into. There is also the fact that Gojo might be able to hit him with Hollow Purple in here. He would need cursed energy to target, and it's hard to say if Goku would have that or not, but since it's something that's latent within people and a lot of people don't even realize they have cursed energy, there's a shot that he'd have some sort of trace amount of cursed energy in there. But if we go back to what I was saying about key overpowering hacks, let's also assume the flip side in saying that Goku doesn't have cursed energy because he's not from this verse. That won't matter. He's going to still be trapped in this domain and still get the overload of info. But even in this situation, Goku does have a way out of it. Alright, let's turn off our Gojo wank now. I outlined the ways that Gojo could possibly win, so why is this battle lopsided if I have all those ways for that? I know I'm reiterating this, but I can't stress it enough. Throughout this whole video, we're purposefully upscaling Gojo, and also lowballing Goku. The point of this video is to show how lopsided this battle is. In most circumstances, Gojo cannot win, and this is even with all our wank for him. The amount of hoops you have to jump through is astounding. His best chance at winning is by using his domain, and the crazy part is, that's not even a guaranteed win. Goku has the chance to break out of it, and also has a chance to activate Ultra Instinct and kill Gojo within it, regardless of his brain being overloaded. And that's still with the lowball. That's while we're overstating Gojo's power and understating Goku's power. Even when I was talking about Hollow Purple, we're still overstating that as well, since we don't really know how it works. Like, we didn't even address the fact that Sukuna arguably tanked a 200% Hollow Purple, although it is unclear if he really dodged or not, but still. There are more than enough arguments to say that this attack works like a regular blast, and it's not just existence erasure, although it technically should work that way. But shown in the battle versus Sukuna, it doesn't really work that way all the time. So just to be very clear, the points are, Limitless won't do anything to defend against Goku. Even at the low ball for Goku's speed, it's not an impenetrable barrier. It's not even a barrier because some people think of it as such. But Goku has multiple ways to work around it, even when underestimating his speed and power. Another point, like I said before, Goku's speed requires its own video because there's so much that goes into it, but there's multiple ways to get Goku to immeasurable speed or infinite speed or anything like that. This is really lowballing him here. And again, even with that low ball, he still has ways to break through Limitless with speed alone. You have to stretch Gojo's power so much for him to even have a chance of having Limitless work. Another point too, Goku's durability and his attack power, they're just absurd. Gojo can't damage Goku unless you severely wank purple, and use the Phantom's idea that it erases matter and ignores durability, which isn't really confirmed anywhere and is just based on how it should work theoretically. And still, on top of that, you have to remember too that Goku resisted a Hakai in base, which is still existence erasure. So even if you want to assume purple works like that, Goku is able to work around that too. Point 4. Gojo's domain would work on Goku as he likely has some trace amounts of cursed energy, and it's his only realistic shot at winning. And even then, Goku still has multiple counters for that. So taking everything together with those big points here, Goku no diffs like 9 out of 10 times, probably even like 99 out of 100. That slight chance Gojo has, it's a perfect scenario where he could pop off his domain right away, Goku doesn't think or try to escape, and Goku's overloaded mind doesn't shut down into Ultra Instinct immediately and kill Gojo. Gojo can win, but he needs the stars to align for it, while Goku basically wins as is. The main takeaway from this video is that placing Goku in a battle with characters like this just feels a bit unnecessary. Like, if we look at JJK alone, the strongest people in JJK's verse, besides like a handful of them, they're all surpassed by early OG Dragon Ball. And by the time we're in Z, pretty much everyone's surpassed. And the Goku that we're using here, he's from Super, where there's many characters who are multiversal with 5-dimensional plus abilities at low ball. It's the same situation with my Goku vs Giorno video, which is even more lopsided in my opinion. Gojo's hacks aren't even impenetrable in his own verse. I love both sides too, by the way. I think the last time I uploaded this, people got the wrong idea that I'm just trying to hype up JJK and downplay Goku, but come on, my channel avatar's Piccolo. And on my other channel, it's Cell. This video is purely for fun to try and give a different perspective on this fight to prove how outmatched Gojo is, but also to see what his limit of power is when we highball him. I love both series. And me doing this very weird power scaling scenario for fun, it's not me trying to disparage one or the other. Basically what I'm saying is, don't set up Gojo like this. Goku and Gojo are both powerful in their own universes, but Gojo's heavily outmatched here. Anyways, let me know what you think below. Keep the comment civil because it's power scaling so I know how this goes. Drop a like if you want to see more things like this, and be sure to subscribe too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.